Welcome to the concluding episode in the Zimbabwe 2012 expedition with the Land Rover Discovery 4. I have not included in this expedition my overall review of the vehicle. There was one piece I mentioned, one of the frustrations of the LR-4's suspension that lowers itself in one of the episodes, and that kind of is all I've actually mentioned about the vehicle, although I actually owned the vehicle for a year and it became our daily runaround. And if I look back on the experience with that vehicle, it is surely one of the very best of the four-wheel drive SUVs. And I say that because not only did it perform very, very well, it's a true off-roader. It has got low range gearing and it has good clearance. Any SUV, without low range and without good clearance really is not we couldn't have done this. Okay, so it's in a different category to so many four-wheel drive SUVs out there. And it is, I don't actually, when you talk about it, is it a crossover? No, it's not a crossover. It's a four-wheel drive and it can do great overland stuff, off-road stuff. I would never own a Discovery 4. And the reason, and even though I think it's such a nice vehicle to drive, and performance-wise, that motor is beautiful, gearbox X, really I can go on and praise it and praise it and praise it. But I wouldn't own one because of its reputation for the cost to own. And when an LR-3 or LR-4 gets beyond about 150,000 kilometers, they start costing their owners lots of money. So if you're thinking about LR-4, buy every single warranty available, every single one. Then you'll love the vehicle because it's such a good performer. And then when it does start costing a lot, well, then the insurance company can cover that. In terms of an overland vehicle, it's very electronic. One slightest problem with any of the sensors, many sensors, the vehicle is full of them. One slightest problem with any of those sensors and the vehicle will stop. And it's not repairable by somebody who's just, an ordinary user. You have to be a Land Rover mechanic with a Land Rover laptop to fix it. But apart from that, I thoroughly enjoyed it through the year I've had it. It concludes with a very short and sweet tribute to my father, more footage of his that he took when he was in Zimbabwe, long before I managed to get there. Daybreak on Kariba. When we went to sleep last night, Dave said to me, "Good night. May you be woken up by fish eagles." And it was a fish eagle right here that woke me up in this glorious sunset. Kariba is, I think, amongst the most beautiful lakes, inland water systems I think I've ever been to. It is exquisite. I cannot believe it's taken me so long to come here, to visit here. I shall be back, that is for sure.
Tiger Bay turned out to be an idyllic setting and an ideal lodge. Clean, comfortable, not expensive.
This is a typical situation. We couldn't finish our stretch with a standard tank, and we managed to find this jerry can at Vic Falls. You need about 1,000 kilometers to be able to do a meaningful overland trip. Any less than that, you're going to struggle and you're going to have to trim your trip. 1,000 k's is kind of the benchmark. Well, don't let appearances fool you. This is Lomagandi Lakeside Association. The noise, I think, seriously, they're building a second dam wall just over there. The noise went on until well after midnight. And even now, at daybreak at Kariba, all I hear is the rumble of machinery. So time to leave. We're going up the Zambezi to a place called Mana Pools. One consolation is we did have hippos in the campsite last night. I'm expecting a lot of hippos in the campsite tonight.
Actually, truth be told, Kariba town is a bit of a dump. The water's edge littered with unused houseboats. Again, like so many towns in Zimbabwe, a shadow of its former self. So Kariba town is not a place to stay, it's a place to arrive, get on a boat and leave. But of course I can't possibly leave until I've had a look at the damn wall, which, like the town, turns out to be a bit of a disappointment. So I'm going to have to rely on my father's 1970s silent movies.
So easy to forget. The lions are calling. They called all night. They came into the camp. I heard them rummaging around the tent. I actually heard what I thought was a breath out. They were that close. And it's easy to forget that it might be a campsite, but being an unfenced campsite, all it really is a place that where you're allowed to make a fire. It was a very eventful night, which didn't include much sleep. There's a buffalo over there. So it's a pretty wild place, it really is. Go for a stroll to the river, see what I can find. I love this early morning light on the river, pre-sunup. The water just glows. But you know, I better watch that buffalo. It's a single buffalo and he's looking at me, and I don't like this one little bit. I'm going to get quite close to the car actually, because lone buffaloes are bad news. Very, very bad news. I actually want to go to the water, but he's looking at me. And not such an eye. I know it's far off, but see, when buffalo are in a group, they're like cows. They just follow each other. When you have another one behind him. One or two lone bulls are often behind the herd. They're often behind the herd, separated from the herd, because they're so grumpy, and grumpy they are. In fact, there are more there. I can see now a third one. Our stay in Mana Pools has been quite short. Animal sightings, little disappointing. Lots of animal noises at night. Last night was crazy, but such a beautiful place. I imagine the lack of game has got something to do with the seasons, because this is approaching winter. It's always better in summer. But I will come back. This is my final stop in Zimbabwe. I'm right up north near Mana Pools. If I have to summarize Zimbabwe and answer the question
that I asked, is it now safe to bring my family here? The answer is absolutely, no question. There are a few things to consider. Firstly, when you go through the border post, have all of your papers ready. Do some homework on the border post. The big ones are complicated. So if you've done your homework, gone is the complication. What is the best way to get through a border post the fastest in terms of attitude and approach?
Well, you mentioned the word attitude. It is all about attitude. If you arrive there with an aggressive attitude, they will treat you like that. And if you show that you are in a hurry to get through, they will play the game with you. They will make you wait because they work on a different, can I call it, time schedule. They work the way they do it. Nobody's going to rush them. So if you are aggressive or want to rush them in their job, they will give you hell if they want to. So I normally come in there very friendly, chat a little bit, but not too much, and get the job done. And always thank you, good morning, those sort of things. Good manners that you would do with anybody else. I can't see why you should not treat them like that.
Security. Generally, it's not a problem. Bulawayo can be a problem. Harare can be a problem. And Vic Falls has had a few bad moments. But otherwise, generally speaking, they say security, not a big issue. Be prepared to hit lots of roadblocks. Generally speaking, they ask for your driver's license and maybe they want to see your fire extinguisher. It's not a problem.
Roadblocks is the same thing. They can be a big issue if you arrive there and have the wrong attitude or aggressive attitude. You see that in Botswana quite often at fences, meat fences, or what do they call it, red lines or whatever. If you're not allowed to take meat into an area, then you're not allowed to do it. Doesn't matter what the steak cost you. You should do your homework beforehand, and if they want to take the meat, give it to them. That's their job. It's not that official that made the rules. He is just enforcing the law. So normally if something like that happens, because sometimes there are new ones that I didn't know about, I just offer them the meat. You get some people that throw petrol on the meat, some jump on the meat, and it's a whole aggro scene. And they make it worse for the next guy, because when I arrive there with the right attitude, they already start off with me, with being aggressive and want to nail me. So normally I've got to break that barrier, greet the guy and say, okay, this is what I have in my car, and then take it and just go. Because I didn't do my homework, and he's doing his job.
But otherwise, look, this is Mana Pools, the end of my journey, hardly anybody here.
No, I will easily bring family. I will only treat open water as dangerous. Anywhere there's a river or a dam, that can be dangerous. And animals, most of the camps are open. I'll make sure that I do the safe thing and won't let the kids run around for miles around from the campsite. But other than that, people are friendly, roads are not that busy, place to camp is normally not an issue, safe, yes, definitely, no problem at all.
Oh, and one other thing. Fuel is cheaper here than it is in South Africa. Groceries are cheaper here than they are in South Africa. And you can spend South African rands, but I don't think you should, because if you spend in dollars, things are cheaper. Did you enjoy that? Then please subscribe. If you'd like to take our relationship to the next level, from just $1 a month to support my productions, or if you'd like to download everything I've ever made, go to forexoverland.com.